All right then. A lot has been already said, so I hope that I will be able to also say something new to our participants today. I'll be talking about Sofia and our work here. We were mainly focused during the last 2 years, I would say, 2.5 years, on working with students in schools, because we believe that if we would um, teach people and motivate people to change their behaviors towards more sustainable habits, everyday habits, we need to start with the children, with the young, that can also teach their parents or grandparents and push them make these changes. And let me see how I will be changing slides. Okay, so the challenges that we are experiencing in Sofia, we have not very good air quality. It's of course improving, but main pollutants are actually the traffic and domestic heating during winter months. You can see on the right side the difference between Sofia and Vienna in terms of motorization rate of the population, and through compare project and all the awareness raising activities, we wanted to actually show to the citizens that they may be part of the problem, but what is more important that is that they can be actually part of the solution, and changing small things can actually bring a positive effect. And another problem is the heavy traffic around schools, especially during the start and the end of the school hours, because all the parents are concerned with the safety of their children and convenience, of course, and they're bringing them with their cars to school. Um, the challenges that are more compare specific are of course related to the engagement, because our experiments, let's say, are taking over long periods of time, and throughout summer vacations of the schools and things like that, we had to find ways to keep these people engaged and knowing that we are going to continue with our efforts and so on and so forth. Milena already mentioned that the data availability that we were working with was limited, and it was an issue because we had to explain to people that yes, we aim to have more data, but the situation changed. And even though I think that throughout the experiments, we managed to explain that yes, having more data will be, of course, great, but even with not that much data, you can see the trends, you can see how particular decision and habit change can change the situation. The sensor coverage issues were also mentioned by Milena with the IoT network and so on and so forth. And yes, the limited data availability actually also resulted in participants not being so keen to test the tools. So we had to push them a little harder to send us their feedback and things like that. But I think we managed, and I will be going on my next slide that continues with challenges and more of insights that we came across during our experiment. Working with children is very cool because they can easily get excited. They can actually process all the information, and having at hand this deliverable that was part of the deliverables from Compare, the guides to air quality or air quality monitoring, sorry, that actually you can download from the Compare website, was very handful too, to show them, to educate them. And we were using this deliverable as an add-on on a workshop for, let's say, sensor assembly, or some other activity for drawing pictures or something like that. And we saw that actually in schools and with children, the topic of air quality is can be quite popular if you can just go in there, distribute some materials, and so on and so forth. Children are eager to participate and become participants. The difficulty here is that in order for a child or a young student to participate, you need some declaration and approval from parents, and it makes things a bit more clumsy. But actually, children can very easily be motivated. They want to see that they can change something, that they can do something to improve the um, environment in their city or country. Um, Citizen science per se, I think Milena also mentioned that, is not very popular in Bulgaria and Sofia, of course, but still there are some people, and once you are able to involve them, they see that there's nothing scary or problematic about it, and they can actually become, how to say it, missionaries, and promote this to other people in their circle. We had issues with the data collection because the sensors, the static sensors that we were using, need to be connected with the Wi-Fi network, and it turned out that Wi-Fi networks in schools are not very stable, which I would say is not generally a bad thing. This can mean that students don't have internet during school hours, which is, I would say, a good thing. And thus we were not able to gather a lot of data. However, we saw some trends. For example, we saw that when there is a vacation, the PM levels are dropping significantly. And if there are classes, and we also try to install sensors outside and inside the classrooms, and when there is class and the kids are silent and staying still, the levels are lower than when they're during short breaks, where they're just moving, jumping, and so on and so forth. And because it was mentioned, we tried to engage the Roma community in Sofia in order to, again, raise their awareness that if they're using solid fuels, and in their case, it's not just solid fuels, if they're using tires for heating because they don't have enough money, or they just don't know what else to use. They are not only making something bad for the society, they're actually ruining their own health and the health of their children. And for that, we joined forces with an intermediary organization, because it turns out that because this community is not very eager to welcome new people and trust new people, because they, for years, they have been blamed for being the bad guy, let's say. So they're very distant, I would say. And thus, we found an intermediary organization. We prepared materials that then this intermediary organization that has already built trust within the community distributed to them. They were having some discussions on the topic, and now they are installing static sensors around the Roma neighborhood, so they will see uh, how it actually affects, and will continue with providing materials that are related already with the data and how you can actually read this data. I talked a lot about awareness raising, but we took different approaches uh, to awareness raising. We were targeting students by going to the class, having workshops and doing things. We were targeting parents and teachers through communication over the phone, through distribution of leaflets in front of schools. And I forgot to mention that actually we were working with two schools that are served by the first school bus service that is implemented in Sofia, and it's very specific service. And I think thanks to the efforts that we did over the past year and a half in Compare, now this year for the first time the school bus is serving these two biggest schools in Bulgaria, I think, not only in Sofia, for the full academic year, for the whole school year. And then, as I mentioned, with the Roma community, we were using different approach. We are monitoring three areas in Sofia with static sensors. The Mladost, which is in the city outskirts, close to the ring road, but very highly densely populated area. We are measuring in the inner city area, where the low emission zone, which is within the low emission zone, and outer city center, which is the border low emission zone. And through our experiments and the activities that we are doing, we are targeting the three, let's say, policy measures. One is the low emission zone implementation, which was implemented for the first time, and Sofia was the first city in southeastern Europe to implement low emission zone. So we are still seeing, trying to see whether it works or not. But the low emission zone implementation, a small project related to the indoor air quality in a kindergarten in Sofia in Mladost area, and the school bus service that I mentioned briefly. And the results that we can report is that we had very positive feedback on the school bus service. We are continuously sending surveys um, to the schools and parents of the children using or not using, because we are trying to see how we can improve the service. And now we are preparing reports to the City Council of Sofia to suggest and propose that this service can be actually scaled up to other schools. The engagement of the participants was good. Children are very keen on using sensors or on assembling sensors, and answer questions and do things to show that they are aware of the air quality, air pollutants, and so on and so forth. We also collaborated with other projects to promote, compare, and to promote citizen science and promote the idea that it is our the change is in our hands, and we can actually, as citizens, work to improve air quality in the cities that we are living. And a positive result, I would say, is related to the low emission zone implementation, because from 1st of January 2025, low emission zone in Sofia will be implemented not only for transport, which is currently the case, but also for domestic heating, which is the other major pollutant. Of course, we were doing a lot of online activities for stakeholders and for people that cannot join our physical events and workshops. So you can see some pictures during these online seminars. We were trying to show the tools, the compare tools, gather feedback, and continue with this constant communication in order to preserve participation rate, let's say. And I think this is my last slide, some recommendations, especially related when you are working with students and schools, kindergartens. You should always, and I think that it is not only relevant for Bulgaria, but everywhere in the world, you should start top down from the school management to get approval and everything, and then they will introduce you to the school teacher, to the class of students, their parents, so on and so forth. So start top down, but then continue bottom up, because usually the school administration is super busy with all kinds of stuff, and you need to not keep them overwhelmed with the project that you are working on, but rather continue with more open communication with class teachers, students, and their parents. Uh, as mentioned by, I think, almost everyone, or even everyone that spoke today, you need to be super honest at all time, directly answer all kinds of questions, not be afraid to say that you don't know right now how to answer or how to resolve an issue, but you will check and come back with suggestion or solution. Try to create community and involve participants uh, throughout the whole process and period, because they need to know that it's going on and it's there, and they are important, because this keeps them engaged and make them feel responsible for the project, for the results, and so on. And one thing that I would say was very important for us here in Sofia, where the level of trust towards the authorities is not that high, is being able to show participants that if they are ready to contribute to the pilot solution, this pilot solution can actually lead to a policy that can be implemented by the local authority. But in order to prove that a measure or a policy will have positive effect on the environment, the authorities also need to have the checks that it will work out. And as mentioned by the others, of course, be able and always have someone that is like a hotline to solve any raising issues in a timely manner. And of course, because everything that we are doing is aiming at improving the environment and lead to policy changes, we were trying, and this is our recommendation, to keep also the stakeholders involved, update them in like every month or two about the progress, about the results, in order to keep them engaged, to gather their feedback, and to know that what you are working on will be also accepted by them.